Once, they were captivated by you, your energy, your presence, your essence. But now, something has shifted. Their interest seems to have disappeared, leaving you wondering, what changed? Where did it all go wrong? This kind of disconnection can feel like a punch to the gut, an invisible force pulling you into a spiral of doubt and confusion. Questions flood your mind. Did I mess up? Did someone else steal their attention? Or is this just a fleeting moment that will pass? But let's be clear, overthinking won't save you. What will? Clarity, action, confidence, and that's exactly what we're here to uncover. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. When someone starts losing interest, your response either drives them further away or draws them back in. There's no middle ground. It's a game of precision and presence, and the stakes are high. This isn't about games or gimmicks. It's about showing up in a way that commands respect, intrigue, and desire. In this video, we're diving into proven strategies rooted in self-awareness, authenticity, and unshakable confidence. These aren't tricks. They're tools to help you reclaim your energy, rebuild the connection, and transform not just the way they see you, but how you see yourself. By the end, you won't just have their attention back. You'll be walking away as the best version of you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that people are drawn to what they can't quite hold on to, like a flame they can't resist touching, even though they know it burns? That's the energy we're creating here. A presence so powerful it becomes unforgettable. The first step? Understanding the root of the problem. People don't lose interest by accident. It's not some random act of the universe. It's the result of specific, identifiable factors. Maybe they felt misunderstood, overlooked, or disconnected. Maybe you lost sight of your own worth, letting their attention define your value. Whatever the cause, this is your chance to recognize it, learn from it, and move forward with clarity. Here's the thing. If you don't identify the cracks in the foundation, you can't rebuild. Trying to re-attract someone without addressing the root issue is like painting over a rusted surface. It looks good for a moment, but it'll never last. The work you do now will set the stage for a connection that's deeper, stronger, and built to withstand the tests of time. Before we dive deeper, let's set the tone with an affirmation. I naturally attract attention and respect because I know my worth. Take a moment to type this in the comments below. Writing it solidifies the mindset shift and starts putting your energy where it matters, on yourself. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the bell icon to ensure you never miss life-changing insights like this. By the end of this video, I'll reveal a mindset shift so transformative it will not only help you re-attract their attention, but will also elevate your confidence to levels you didn't know were possible. Let's dive in. 1. Striking the chord. Why connections fall flat and how to revive them. Imagine trying to play a symphony on a single unchanging note. No matter how beautiful that note might be, eventually it wears thin. Its magic fades into monotony. Relationships are no different. They thrive on rhythm, contrast, and the occasional crescendo that keeps things alive and vibrant. When the emotional variety fades, so does the connection. People crave experiences that make them feel alive. Excitement, curiosity, joy, and even a sprinkle of unpredictability. Without these elements, the relationship risks becoming flat and uninspired, like a canvas painted in only one color. Now picture this. Someone plans the same dinner and movie night every week. At first it's comforting, even enjoyable, but as time goes on, the routine becomes stale, and the spark that once made the evenings memorable begins to dim. Compare this to someone who surprises their partner with a last-minute trip to watch the sunset, an impromptu dance lesson, or even a homemade picnic under the stars. The difference? Variety, contrast, emotion. It's these elements that transform a connection from something ordinary into something extraordinary. At this point, you might be asking, but isn't consistency important in relationships? Absolutely, but consistency doesn't mean monotony. Think of it like a melody that repeats but surprises you with harmonies and crescendos along the way. The balance lies in being reliable while also being dynamic, a steady hand that occasionally shakes things up. And then there's another hidden trap that many fall into: desperation. Desperation doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in subtly, disguised as care or attentiveness. It's the over-eager text messages, the constant need for reassurance, or the urge to fill every silence with words. While these actions might come from a place of genuine affection, they often land differently. To the other person, it can feel suffocating, as if the relationship has become a fragile bridge buckling under the weight of insecurity. Imagine this scenario. You send them a sweet "good morning" text. When there's no reply, you follow up by lunchtime. By evening, you're calling to ask why they haven't responded. From your perspective, you're showing care, but to them, it might feel like pressure, like an unspoken demand for constant attention. Contrast this with someone who sends a thoughtful message and leaves space for a response, signaling confidence and patience. This balance of presence and restraint is magnetic. As the old adage goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. You might wonder, but shouldn't I show how much I care? Yes, but care isn't measured by how often you reach out. It's measured by the quality of your presence. Confidence, self-assurance, and emotional balance speak louder than words or gestures ever could. This brings us to a profound truth echoed by the Stoics. Self-awareness is the foundation of all wisdom. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Before acting, pause, reflect. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of genuine connection, or am I driven by fear? This small moment of introspection can be transformative. Think of a time when someone pulled away after you sent several heartfelt messages in quick succession. The natural reaction might be to panic, to send another message, hoping to bridge the gap. But what if instead you stepped back and asked yourself, am I trying to connect, or am I clinging? The pause, that single moment of self-control, is where clarity begins. Relationships, like the ocean, are most beautiful when they have waves, gentle ebbs and flows that keep the waters alive and moving. By bringing emotional variety into your connections and avoiding the quicksand of desperation, you build something stronger, richer, and more fulfilling. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about tuning into the parts of yourself that create harmony, not noise. As you reflect on this, remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's growth. It's recognizing where you can refine your approach and how those changes not only strengthen your relationships, but also help you evolve into a person of balance and purpose. A symphony isn't written overnight, but each note you add creates something more beautiful. And in the end, isn't that what life and love are all about? 2. The secret to lasting attraction. Imagine a perfectly still pond, calm, predictable, and lifeless. Now picture a river, its waters flowing, crashing, and weaving a journey filled with twists and turns. Which one feels more alive? Relationships mirror this dynamic. A connection that lacks emotional variety becomes stagnant, while one infused with vibrant emotional dynamics keeps both hearts engaged and alive. Attraction isn't built on surface-level gestures or polished words. It's forged in the art of creating emotional depth, the kind that keeps someone intrigued and constantly wanting more. Emotions are the lifeblood of connection. People, not just women, are drawn to experiences that evoke excitement, curiosity, joy, and even a tinge of healthy jealousy. It's the rhythm of these emotions that weaves an irresistible tapestry of connection, keeping the bond alive and growing. But what does this actually look like in practice? Let's dive into excitement first. Imagine this. Instead of following the same predictable routine, you turn to them with a smile and say, "Let's skip the usual tonight. How about we drive up to the cliffs and watch the city lights instead?" Suddenly, the ordinary transforms into an adventure, or picture sharing something unexpected from your day. "You'll never believe what I saw at the park today. Remind me to show you later." These spontaneous moments are like fireworks, brief but unforgettable, sparking the kind of excitement that lingers long after the moment passes. You might ask, isn't stability important in a relationship? Absolutely. But stability isn't the same as monotony. It's about being the solid foundation while still surprising them with a vibrant, dynamic connection. It's the unexpected detour that makes the journey memorable. Now, consider the allure of curiosity. Mystery isn't about withholding or playing games. It's about inviting someone to lean in, to want to know more. Picture telling them a story and pausing at the most intriguing part. "And then the strangest thing happened, but I'll tell you the rest next time." Or asking a question that lingers in their mind, such as, "What's something you've always wanted to do but never told anyone?" These moments are like leaving the final chapter of a book unread. They spark curiosity, keeping them engaged and eager for more. But here's where many people hesitate. Doesn't mystery feel manipulative? Not when it's genuine. True curiosity isn't about creating puzzles. It's about sharing just enough to leave them intrigued, offering them a glimpse of the depth beneath the surface. And now, let's address the most controversial dynamic: jealousy. Done wrong, it can feel manipulative or even cruel. But when approached with balance, it's a subtle reminder that you're a person of value, admired, confident, and not easily taken for granted. Imagine casually mentioning, "Funny thing happened today. This person at the store said they loved my jacket. Made me think I should wear it more often." It's not about bragging or making someone feel insecure. It's about showing that you're confident and noticed by others. You might be wondering, isn't jealousy dangerous in a relationship? Yes, if it's overdone. But the goal here isn't to create insecurity. It's to demonstrate that you're someone who brings value to the table, someone who others admire. Confidence, after all, is magnetic. Still, there's a delicate balance to maintain. Too much excitement can feel chaotic. Excessive mystery might come off as distant or uninterested. Overloading jealousy can erode trust. It's like seasoning a dish. Too much of one ingredient, and the entire flavor is ruined. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes a guiding light. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Every virtue is a mean between extremes." Emotional dynamics, like the waves of the ocean, should be strong enough to stir but calm enough to soothe. Mastering this balance is akin to conducting a symphony, where every note of excitement, curiosity, joy, and confidence plays its part in harmony. The result: a connection that's not only fulfilling but unforgettable. Now, reflect for a moment. Are you creating waves of emotion that keep the connection alive, or are you caught in the stillness of monotony? Maybe it's time to ask yourself, how can I bring more depth into my interactions? Can I plan a spontaneous moment, spark curiosity with a lingering question, or show quiet confidence that speaks louder than words? This isn't about being someone you're not. It's about tuning into the natural rhythm of connection, learning to embrace the variety that keeps life and love vibrant. Relationships thrive when we approach them not as a puzzle to solve, but as a dance to enjoy. When you embrace this flow, you create an experience that isn't just memorable, but truly magnetic. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So let your thoughts and your actions paint a masterpiece of connection, one filled with vibrancy, depth, and harmony. Because in the end, it's not about how much you impress someone, but how deeply you make them feel. 3. Let them come to you, the art of attracting without chasing. Imagine trying to hold on to water by gripping it tightly in your fists. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. This is exactly what happens when you chase someone who's pulling away. Instinct might scream at you to run after them, to send one more message, to do something, anything, to bring them back. But here's the truth. Chasing doesn't ignite attraction. It extinguishes it. The more you push, the more you reinforce their distance. So, what's the alternative? It's this. Stop chasing. Start attracting. Instead of frantically pulling them closer, focus on becoming someone they naturally gravitate toward. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about shifting your focus inward and building the kind of confidence and value that draws people in like a magnet. Think of the sun. It doesn't chase the planets, yet they orbit around it naturally, drawn by its immense energy. You too can be the center of gravity in your relationships, not by clinging, but by radiating strength, purpose, and self-assurance. Attraction isn't something you demand, it's something you inspire. You might wonder, but what if I don't chase and they move on? Here's the thing. If someone is truly interested, creating space won't push them away, it will pull them closer. People are drawn to mystery, independence, and confidence. Desperation repels. Calm self-assurance captivates. Picture this. You've been dating someone and suddenly their messages become sporadic. Your first impulse might be to send texts like, "Are you upset with me?" or "Is everything okay?" But what if instead you chose a different path? You step back. You focus on yourself, spending time with friends, hitting the gym, or diving into projects that excite you. When they finally reach out, you respond with warmth and composure, not desperation. In that moment, something shifts. They begin to notice your calm confidence and independence. Thoughts cross their mind. Did I misjudge them? Why haven't they reached out? What are they up to? You've created space for them to miss you, to value your presence, and to take the initiative themselves. This isn't manipulation. It's a reflection of your own self-worth. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When someone pulls away, that's an external event, something you cannot control. But your reaction, that's entirely in your hands. You might think, "How can I just let go like that? Won't they think I don't care?" Here's the truth. Stepping back doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means valuing your time and energy enough to avoid over-investing in someone who isn't reciprocating in the moment. It shows that your sense of self isn't tied to their validation. Chasing often comes from fear, the fear of losing them, of being alone, or of rejection. But what if, instead of letting fear drive you, you chose focus? Focus on your goals, your growth, and your peace of mind. When you embody this mindset, you're not just telling them you're confident, you're showing it in every action. Think of it like a flame. A small fire can't chase the wind, it'll burn out. But a strong, steady blaze attracts people to its warmth and light. You don't need to chase when you stand in your power. They'll feel the difference. The next time you feel the urge to chase, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting out of fear or insecurity, or am I standing in my confidence? When you choose confidence, you reclaim your power. You show not only them, but also yourself, that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else. This isn't just about relationships, it's about how you live. When you stop chasing and start attracting, you build a foundation of strength and self-respect that no one can take away. And here's the beauty of it. When you value yourself, others can't help but value you too. Attraction isn't about clinging or controlling, it's about embodying the qualities that inspire respect, admiration, and desire. So, let go of the need to chase, stand in your power, and watch as the world begins to orbit around you. 4. When silence speaks louder, escaping the over-communication trap. Imagine a beautifully written symphony ruined by a single note played over and over again. No matter how perfect that note might be, the repetition strips it of its power, leaving behind noise instead of music. Over-communication in relationships works the same way. While it might seem like constant texting, repeated calls, or over-explaining your feelings shows care and attentiveness, it often communicates insecurity, a need for control, or a lack of confidence. Instead of drawing someone closer, this kind of behavior can push them away, leaving them feeling overwhelmed and disinterested. You might think, but isn't communication the foundation of a strong relationship? Of course it is. But there's a fine line between healthy communication and over-communication. Healthy communication is about quality, not quantity. It's about trust and mutual understanding, not a desperate need for constant validation. Imagine this. Two men are in similar situations. One bombards her phone with messages. "Why haven't you replied? Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" His tone becomes more anxious with every text, signaling his growing insecurity. The other man, on the other hand, sends one thoughtful message and then steps back, trusting that she'll respond when she's ready. Who do you think comes across as more confident, composed, and appealing? It's the second man, without a doubt. His restraint communicates trust, not only in her but also in himself. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Over-communication often stems from a need to control external circumstances. But the reality is, no amount of texts or calls can control how someone feels or behaves. True strength lies in controlling your own reactions, staying grounded in your sense of worth, and letting things unfold naturally. At this point, you might ask, but what if she misinterprets my silence as indifference? The answer is simple. Silence doesn't have to mean distance. It can mean calmness, confidence, and an unshakable belief in the connection you've already built. When you step back and give her space, you create an opportunity for her to think about you on her own terms. Space allows her to miss you, to appreciate your presence, and to feel the stability you bring into her life. Think of it like holding sand in your hand. If you grip it too tightly, the sand slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, it stays in place. Relationships thrive in that balance. Over-communication, on the other hand, is like trying to keep the sand by clenching your fist. It stems from fear, the fear of losing her, of being misunderstood, or of facing rejection. But what if you replaced fear with trust? Trust in yourself, in your value, and in the natural flow of the connection. This doesn't mean you stop communicating altogether. It means you shift your focus from quantity to quality. A single thoughtful message carries more weight than 10 anxious ones. As the Stoics teach us, restraint is the foundation of virtue. Holding back, staying composed, and trusting the moment is not a sign of indifference. It's a sign of strength. You might think, what if she never responds? That possibility exists, but over-communication won't change it. In fact, it's more likely to drive her further away. The better question is, am I acting out of insecurity or confidence? Confidence means understanding that your value doesn't depend on her immediate response. It means knowing that you bring enough to the table to be worth missing. The next time you feel the urge to send another text or make another call, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I creating noise or am I allowing space for connection? When you choose the latter, you embody the kind of emotional discipline that makes you magnetic. Restraint isn't about withholding, it's about showing strength. It's about demonstrating that your world doesn't revolve around external validation. When you embrace this mindset, you'll not only improve your relationships, but also grow into a version of yourself that exudes confidence and calm. You'll become the kind of person who doesn't just attract others, you inspire them. And that's a power no amount of over-communication can ever achieve. In the end, it's not about how often you speak. It's about the strength of your silence and the quality of your words when you do. Let your actions and composure speak louder than any text ever could. Trust me, when you master this, you'll not only transform your relationships, you'll transform yourself. 5. Hold your tongue, the power of silent confidence. When someone starts to pull away, it's natural to feel a rising panic, an urgent need to fix things, to close the gap, to pour your heart out in hopes that everything will snap back into place. The thought creeps in. If I just tell them how I feel, they'll understand, and everything will go back to normal. But here's the hard truth. Confessing your feelings in moments like these doesn't mend the connection. It often pushes them further away. Why? Because the issue isn't that they don't know how you feel. They likely already sense your emotions. The real issue lies in the dynamic, an imbalance where your eagerness to draw closer mirrors their need for space. Emotional confessions in such moments can come across as desperation, and desperation is not attractive. It signals a lack of self-assurance, a need for external validation that can feel overwhelming rather than inviting. You might ask, but shouldn't they know how much I care? Yes, but care isn't proven through words spoken in haste. It's shown in your actions, your composure, and your ability to remain steady, even in moments of uncertainty. As the Stoics teach, self-mastery is the cornerstone of strength. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine a scenario. They've pulled back, and you feel the urge to send a heartfelt text or make a grand gesture to win them over. What if, instead, you chose to pause, to resist the impulse to act out of fear or insecurity? Instead of chasing them with words, you choose silence. You shift your focus inward on your growth, your goals, and your sense of purpose. Picture this. Rather than flooding their inbox with messages, they see you thriving. You're excelling at work, spending time with friends, rediscovering hobbies, and working on yourself. You're not broadcasting pain or attempting to win them back. You're showing, quietly and confidently, that your sense of worth doesn't depend on their presence. This approach flips the script. Instead of trying to pull them closer, you create space for them to lean in. They might wonder, why are they so composed? Why haven't they reached out? Are they really so confident without me? That curiosity plants a seed, one that shifts the dynamic in your favor. You might worry, but won't they think I don't care? Silence isn't the same as apathy. It's a powerful tool when wielded with intention. It's not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about valuing yourself enough to resist impulsive reactions. As Seneca said, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Be grateful for the opportunity to demonstrate composure in challenging moments. This isn't just about winning someone back. Even if they don't return, you've gained something far more valuable: emotional resilience and self-control. These are qualities that will serve you in every area of your life. The ability to hold your tongue, to act with deliberate intention rather than reactive emotion, is what sets you apart. Think of a flame. A fire that burns too hot consumes itself, while one that's steady provides warmth and light. Your emotional composure is that steady flame. It doesn't flicker wildly in the face of uncertainty. It remains constant, a beacon of strength and self-assurance. The next time you feel the urge to confess your feelings, to bridge the gap with words, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting out of fear, or am I choosing confidence? Let your silence speak volumes. Let your actions show your worth. And let their curiosity about your calm draw them back to you. This is the path of the Stoic, not chasing, not clinging, but standing firm in your value. It's a path of quiet power, unshakable confidence, and undeniable allure. And whether they return or not, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and more in tune with the kind of person you're meant to be. That's the power of self-mastery. That's what makes you truly unforgettable. 6. Mastering anger and ego. Let's face it, when someone ignores you, it can feel like a punch to the gut. That sharp sting of rejection stirs up frustration, and your mind races with thoughts like, why are they doing this? Should I call them out? Should I block them? The urge to react is overwhelming, fueled by a bruised ego and a need to regain control. But here's the truth. Reacting in anger doesn't make you stronger. It gives your power away. Picture this. You send them a thoughtful message, and the silence stretches on. Hours pass, then days, and they've read it but chosen not to reply. That knot of irritation tightens, and you're tempted to send a fiery message like, why are you ignoring me? What's your problem? Sure, venting might feel good for a split second, but what does it really achieve? All it does is show that they're living rent-free in your mind. You hand them the upper hand, confirming that their silence has power over you. Instead, take a different approach. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what would the strongest version of me do right now? The ancient Stoics believed in the power of response over reaction. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Their silence is outside your control, but your response, that's entirely in your hands. Think of it like this. When you let anger dictate your actions, it's like trying to fight fire with gasoline. The blaze only grows, but when you respond with calm and composure, you extinguish the flames before they can consume you. Imagine being in their shoes. Maybe they're overwhelmed, dealing with personal struggles, or simply not ready to communicate. The Stoics also taught sympathia, the understanding that we're all part of a larger whole. Their behavior might not even be about you. Perhaps their silence stems from their own insecurities, fears, or distractions. When you assume the best instead of the worst, you free yourself from the weight of unnecessary frustration. Now picture this alternative. Instead of reacting emotionally, you choose stillness. You shrug off their silence, smile, and move on with your day. You go for a run, dive into your work, or enjoy time with friends. Your response isn't silence out of pettiness, but silence rooted in self-control. It's a quiet confidence that says, I don't need your attention to feel whole. What does this say to them? It shows strength. It shows maturity. It shows that your value isn't tied to their validation. That kind of composure speaks louder than any angry words ever could. Over time, they'll notice the difference. They'll wonder, why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they chasing me like everyone else does? That intrigue shifts the dynamic, putting the ball in their court. You might wonder, but isn't staying silent just avoiding the problem? Not at all. Silence isn't avoidance, it's wisdom in action. It's choosing to focus on what you can control, your growth, your happiness, and your peace of mind. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every time you resist the urge to fire off a heated text or let frustration dictate your actions, you're training a muscle, the muscle of emotional resilience. Like any skill, it takes practice. But the rewards, they're immense. You become the kind of person who stands out, not because you shout the loudest, but because you remain calm in the storm. The next time you feel that anger bubbling up, pause and ask yourself, is this reaction coming from a place of strength or insecurity? Choose strength. Choose self-respect. Let your silence speak volumes. Even if they don't return, you've gained something far more valuable: mastery over your emotions and an unshakable confidence in your own worth. This isn't about winning them back. It's about winning yourself back. When you respond with composure instead of anger, you remind yourself of a vital truth. Your power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. And that, more than anything, is what makes you truly unforgettable. 7. Don't buy love. True value comes from within. Let's be honest. When someone starts to drift away, the instinct to win them back can feel overwhelming. For many, the first thought is to compensate with grand gestures, extravagant gifts, expensive dinners, or splurging on something flashy to rekindle the connection. But here's the harsh truth. Buying affection doesn't build relationships. It breaks them. When you try to win someone over with money or material things, the message isn't what you think it is. You might believe it shows care or effort, but often it screams desperation. And desperation is never attractive. It undermines the very qualities that make you valuable: your self-respect, confidence, and authenticity. Relationships aren't transactions, they're emotional bonds. No amount of money can substitute for the depth of a genuine connection. Consider this: if love could be purchased, relationships would be little more than business deals. But deep down, you know that the bonds that truly matter are built on something far more profound. They're forged through your character, your values, and how you show up, especially during difficult times. Now, imagine this scenario. Someone notices their partner pulling away. Panicked, they rush to shower them with expensive gifts, hoping to bridge the emotional gap. But instead of feeling closer, the partner feels even more distant, sensing that the gestures are compensatory rather than heartfelt. The gifts become a reminder of what's missing, not a solution to the problem. Now, picture a different man, one who notices the same distance but chooses a wiser path. Instead of panicking, he pauses and reflects. He asks himself, what does this relationship really need? What can I offer that money can't buy? Perhaps the answer is space, understanding, or emotional safety. None of these things can be wrapped in a box or delivered with a receipt. They require presence, patience, and genuine self-awareness. True value in a relationship isn't measured by what you give materially, but by how you make the other person feel. Do they feel secure, respected, and cared for in your presence? That sense of emotional safety can never be bought. It must be built. Think of a man who recognizes his partner's distance and takes the opportunity to reflect on his own behavior. Maybe he's been distracted, too focused on work, or not as present as he should be. Instead of splurging on grand gestures, he decides to focus on what truly matters: being attentive, consistent, and supportive. He works on himself, pursuing personal growth, deepening his communication skills, and showing that he values her not through his wallet, but through his actions. Over time, this quiet authenticity makes an impression. It's not a performance, it's a genuine shift. And that kind of change is far more magnetic than any bouquet of flowers or expensive gift. She notices the difference, not in what he's giving, but in how he's showing up. As Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This applies to relationships as well. You don't need extravagant possessions or over-the-top gestures to prove your worth. Your value lies in your inner strength, in your ability to remain calm, composed, and confident no matter the circumstances. You might wonder, but shouldn't I show her I care? Of course. But care is shown in thoughtfulness, not in desperation. If you want to give a gift, let it be meaningful, intentional, and tied to something genuine, like a birthday or an anniversary, not as a frantic attempt to buy back her attention. The most powerful thing you can offer isn't something with a price tag. It's your ability to lead with character, to remain steady even in the face of rejection, and to demonstrate self-respect. When you value yourself, others will naturally value you too. You might think, but what if gifts are the only way to fix this? Ask yourself, is the connection you're trying to rebuild worth reducing to a transaction? If material things alone could create lasting affection, there would be no heartbreak in the world. True connection comes from the heart, not the wallet. Here's the thing. When you focus on improving yourself, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you become the kind of person who commands admiration and respect. It's not just her attention you'll attract, but the respect of everyone around you. The next time you feel tempted to win someone over with material gestures, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove? And is this the best way to show my value? Instead of reacting out of fear or insecurity, channel that energy inward. Build yourself into the kind of person who doesn't need to buy affection, because their character and presence are more than enough. In the end, your worth isn't defined by the size of your wallet, but by the strength of your spirit. The man who stands firm in his values, who leads with authenticity rather than desperation, is the one who leaves a lasting impression. That's the man who isn't just respected, but truly admired. And that's the man you're capable of being. 8. Finding strength in the gray area. When someone begins to pull away, it's easy to feel the weight of uncertainty crashing down on you. The urge to seek clarity can be overwhelming, pushing you to ask direct questions like, "Do you still want me?" or "What's going on?" You think these questions might bring relief, but more often than not, they create even more distance. The truth is, this isn't a moment for demanding answers or trying to control the situation. It's a moment for patience, composure, and quiet self-reflection. This uncertain phase, though uncomfortable, is an opportunity in disguise. It's a test of your ability to remain steady when the ground beneath you feels shaky. By resisting the temptation to confront or seek validation, you communicate a powerful message. I am confident and secure, even when faced with the unknown. Imagine a storm rolling through a forest. Some trees are uprooted by the wind, while others bend, sway, and remain rooted. The difference isn't strength alone, it's flexibility and resilience. Similarly, when you face the gray area in a relationship, the key isn't to fight against it, but to embrace it with grace and composure. Picture this. They're stepping back, perhaps confused, overwhelmed, or unsure of their feelings. If you lean in too hard, pressing for clarity or validation, it's like blowing on an ember that's struggling to ignite. Instead of fanning the flame, you smother it. But if you allow them the space to breathe, to think, and to process, you send a different message. I respect your space, and I trust myself enough to handle this. This doesn't mean you retreat into cold silence or indifference. It means redirecting your energy inward. Take this time to focus on yourself. Revisit hobbies you've neglected, reconnect with friends, or dive into something that fulfills you. For instance, if you've always loved painting but haven't touched a brush in months, now is the time. Channel your emotions into creating something meaningful. In doing so, you send a silent yet impactful message. I'm not shaken by this uncertainty. I am whole on my own. You might wonder, but doesn't this seem like I'm avoiding the problem? Not at all. It's not avoidance, it's wisdom. Sometimes the strongest action is no action at all. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By choosing to remain calm and composed, you show not only them, but also yourself that you can weather uncertainty without losing your sense of self. This kind of quiet strength is magnetic. It's not about manipulation or playing hard to get. It's about embodying a confidence that doesn't need constant validation. When you resist the urge to push for answers, you create space for them to reflect on their own feelings and actions. And that space is where genuine connection can grow. Think of it like this: a painter doesn't rush to finish their masterpiece. They step back, observe, and let the canvas evolve. Similarly, by stepping back in moments of uncertainty, you allow the relationship to breathe and develop naturally. You might ask, what if they don't come back? That's a possibility. But the real question is, what kind of person am I becoming in this process? When you embrace the gray area, you cultivate resilience, patience, and self-assurance, qualities that not only strengthen your relationships, but also make you stand out in every area of life. In the end, being comfortable in the unknown is a skill that sets you apart. It shows that you're someone who can face life's challenges with grace and composure. And whether or not they return, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to your own worth. That, above all, is what makes you truly unforgettable. 9. Strength from within, the art of building self-worth. When someone loses interest, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. You replay every interaction, analyzing what went wrong, and the sting of rejection makes you question your worth. But here's a crucial truth: their interest, or lack of it, is not a reflection of your intrinsic value as a person. More often, it's about how you presented yourself, the actions you took, or even the context of the relationship. These are factors you can refine, but they don't define you. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. If you see something out of place, a wrinkle, a spot, an imperfection, you don't throw the mirror away. You adjust yourself. Similarly, someone's disinterest isn't a condemnation of your worth. It's a reflection, an opportunity to examine where you can grow. You might wonder, but what if the problem really is me? That's a fair question. Perhaps you came across as too eager, too distant, or didn't fully communicate the qualities you know you possess. But here's the empowering part. These behaviors are within your control. They aren't fixed traits. They're habits and patterns you can change. Consider a man who repeatedly finds himself ghosted after a few dates. Instead of spiraling into frustration or blaming the other person, he decides to reflect. He realizes he often dominates conversations, talking about himself but rarely asking questions or showing genuine curiosity about his date. Recognizing this, he makes a decision to improve. He starts reading about communication, practices active listening, and even seeks feedback from trusted friends. The next time he goes on a date, something shifts. He listens more, asks thoughtful questions, and creates a deeper connection. That's growth. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. This is what the Stoics remind us of when they teach, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom and true confidence come from self-mastery. It's about taking control of your habits, emotions, and reactions, rather than letting external circumstances dictate how you feel about yourself. You might think, but rejection still hurts. Of course it does. Rejection is a sting we all feel, but it's also a powerful motivator. Think of it like a fire. It can burn you, or it can forge you into something stronger. The choice is yours. Instead of letting rejection erode your self-esteem, let it fuel your transformation. What does this look like in practice? It means turning inward. If you notice areas where you can improve, like communication, confidence, or emotional resilience, take action. Read books, take courses, or even simply reflect on your interactions. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every step you take towards self-mastery builds your self-worth from the inside out. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Their reaction to you is outside your control, but how you respond, how you grow, and how you carry yourself moving forward, that's entirely yours. Imagine a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble. Each strike of the chisel might seem small, but over time, the raw stone transforms into a masterpiece. You are that sculptor, and your life is the marble. Every effort you make to improve yourself is shaping the person you're destined to become. You might ask, what if they never see my growth? That's not the point. Your growth isn't for them, it's for you. The real reward isn't winning back someone's interest. It's the confidence and freedom that come from knowing your worth doesn't depend on anyone else. So, let their reaction be a spark, not a measure of your value. Use it as a wake-up call to focus on what truly matters, becoming a better version of yourself. When you approach life with this mindset, you'll find that rejection isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of your transformation. That's the power of building self-worth. And it starts with you. Last one, the magnetic pull of space. Why distance creates desire. When someone begins to pull away, it's tempting to chase after them, to fill the void with messages, gestures, or explanations. But the truth is, distance is what creates desire. The harder you push to close the gap, the more you risk widening it. Instead of fighting against the space they've created, lean into it with calmness and confidence. Give them the room to miss you. Imagine holding a beautiful balloon at a party. If you grip it too tightly, it looks like it might burst. But if you let it float just above your hand, giving it space to hover, it stays close, naturally drawn to you. Relationships often work the same way. A firm grip can feel suffocating, but space allows the natural pull of attraction to work its magic. This isn't about ghosting or playing games. It's about stepping back with grace. When you do, you give them time to reflect on what they admire in you, the connection you've shared, and what they stand to lose. As the Stoics teach, patience is a virtue, and as Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Your calm retreat speaks volumes, showing self-respect and emotional maturity, qualities far more attractive than desperation. You might ask, but what if they never come back? That's a possibility, but here's the beauty of space. It's not just for them, it's for you. Use the time apart to focus on yourself. Channel your energy into growth, rediscover your passions, and thrive. Whether they return or not, you'll emerge wiser, stronger, and more centered. Think of it like tending to a garden. You can't force a flower to bloom faster by hovering over it. You plant the seed, water it, and step back, letting time and nature do their work. Relationships are no different. By embracing the space, you allow the natural pull of desire to grow. So, when they step back, don't panic, don't chase. Stay steady, focus on yourself, and let time do its work. Distance creates desire, and when you stand firm in your confidence, you become undeniably magnetic. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect and share in the comments. What's one way you can embrace space and focus on your growth? Type "Distance creates desire" as a reminder of the power of patience. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the bell icon for more insights like this. Let's grow together, stronger, wiser, and more resilient.